The Minnesota Vikings got completely hosed by the NFL and by the Atlanta Falcons after the investigation into the Atlanta Falcons signing Kirk Cousins was finally finished. And the Atlanta Falcons got fined a big, massive amount of $250,000, which is chump change in the NFL. And they lost one of their most valuable picks, a 5th-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. A pick they probably would have traded away if they didn't lose that selection. This take is presented by Hoagland Farm. Contact Jared at Hoagland Farm and get the best rotationally grazed 100% grass-fed Hereford beef. This beef is sold in quarters and halves, and he has custom sample packs so you can try before you buy in bulk. Contact Jared and get 20% off.
You kidding me?
20% off your first order by mentioning the Minnesota Tim podcast. Contact Jared at 952-491-1541. That's 952-491-1541. Okay, so the NFL released this statement. It says, while the policy permits clubs to engage with and negotiate all aspects of an NFL player contract with the certified agent of any prospective unrestricted free agent during the 2-day negotiating period, any direct contact between the player and an employee or representative of the club is prohibited. This includes discussion of travel arrangements or other logistical matters which the club acknowledges took place with regard to these 3 players. And they're referring to Charlie Warner, Darnell Mooney, and the one and only Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins admitted that he discussed things with personnel from the Atlanta Falcons this offseason. And here's the NFL laying down the law, showing them that cheating is not allowed with a $250,000 fine. You know, a couple of months ago, there was a hope that the Atlanta Falcons were going to lose their 1st-round pick because they illegally tampered with Kirk Cousins. And then Adam Schefter reported that morning of the NFL Draft that there was likely not to become an outcome that day about the situation. But there was a hope that Minnesota Vikings would swap their 1st-round selections or either get the Atlanta Falcons 1st-round selection because they illegally snagged Kirk Cousins from the Minnesota Vikings. Now, it doesn't mean that Kirk Cousins would have left the Minnesota Vikings anyways. It's probably true. I believe that to be true. I predicted that he would leave and sign with the Atlanta Falcons. But the problem is they did it illegally. He would have signed there anyways, but they contacted him. Kirk contacted them. They talked about arrangements. They talked about logistics. They talked about recruiting other players. And here they are getting the biggest, not the biggest, a little flick on the wrist. Not even a slap. This is like a little flick. Maybe it's like a little pat. My heavens, this is ridiculous. The NFL blew it on this one. Because what team in the future is going to fear a $250,000 fine and a 5th-round pick if they can get a top 10, arguably, quarterback in free agency? No one's going to hesitate. They're just going to do it because, hey, Fifth round pick, I'll give that up to get Kirk Cousins. I'll give up $250,000 to become a Super Bowl contender immediately and the leader in our division because our division stinks. You know, I'm not big on saying the NFL's rigged and the refs are a bunch of cheaters and look at them. Oh, they missed this block here. There's a holding or a block in the back. I'm not big on that because you could look at any game in the NFL, any team, and point out missed calls, bad calls, and stuff like that. Now, I'm sure the NFL roots for certain matchups because certain matchups will help their ratings just like the NBA. But I don't believe the refs are literally rigging games to make things happen a certain way. But in this situation, the NFL, what are you doing? Because if someone commits an illegal move or transaction, you lay the law on the first one so it doesn't happen again in the future. And they gave him a little pat on the wrist. You know, don't do it, but here you go. Here's like a little fifth round pick, $250,000. You've got to be kidding me. The Minnesota Vikings got completely screwed by the NFL and by the Atlanta Falcons. And Kirk Cousins would have left anyways. But they did it illegally. Jim Mora has some thoughts on this.
I thought it was horrible, disgusting, embarrassing, shameful. It stunk.
Exactly. That decision by the NFL stunk. And it reeks of stink. Wow, I was fired up today. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please rate, review, and follow the pod wherever you're listening to this podcast. Thank you for making this episode a part of your day.